Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Friday night Smackdown review. Don't keep it short and sweet. I really didn't care for the Smackdown at all. I'm actually really getting worried that I'm getting generally apathetic towards the WWE product as a whole. And the only things that really entertained me tonight were Roman Reigns / Brock Lesnar, Hit Row debuting. Xavier's coronation was all right, but, whatever. And is that about it? I really think that's about it. Where the two things I really enjoyed were Hit Row and really just Brock Lesnar. I mean, Roman was great, but like Brock had a really enlivening segment. I even tweeted that this is my favorite iteration of Brock. I know a lot of people like beatbox Lesnar. But yeah, and I guess McIntyre was okay too, with the open challenge, but I just think Sammy is one of the better performers on the roster right now, and he's still like in the mid card because we already have a heel as a world champion. So yeah, I just really didn't care for this at all. I really would have rather been doing, reading, writing, just things like that. I know you said you'd rather be watching you because I know you're getting hooked on that. So yeah, this really wasn't worth my time. I don't think it was worth yours either. But I don't want to speak for you. How'd you feel about this episode?
Yeah, I will say this isn't a show that I would have wanted to completely skip, but it is a show that I would have rather puttered rather than just watching it with my full attention. Because I don't think it was a bad show outright, but I do think that it was relatively unimportant in the grand scheme of things. Um, I think there was more good than bad, though, believe it or not. So I think this is one of the rare instances where I'm a little bit higher on a show than you are.
Probably because, dude, I just honestly wanted it to be over. I wanted us to, get here and then get this done. Because really, like, I honestly, like, if I'm really owning my feelings, I disagree with you. I feel like we could have skipped this, and it really would have been a problem. Because I think at most what this show did, and that's why maybe I'll cut it a little bit of slack, was I think it was almost like a reorientation of sorts. Like, these are the people you can expect on Friday nights now, kind of thing. Because they even did a segment, dude, where the people that weren't actively in programs or anything did promos. We had Holland talk, Aaliyah.
I thought that was brilliant. I thought
that was clever. That I will give them credit.
And
that
did you
was
notice
clever
that they transitioned from that into Hit Row, introducing themselves as well? So it's like we got all these backstage introductions to new people on the roster, and then we transition to the ramp where we get a live introduction from Hit Row. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, that I will agree with you on for sure. And I think again the only reason I'll be a little bit tempered with this is because I am choosing to look at it more as a reorientation kind of episode. But yeah, this really did nothing for me. I think we could have skipped this. We could have gotten right into next week, and that would have felt more grounded. So yeah, let's get to our first segment, Heat of the Night. God, do I even really have a Heat of the Night per se? I guess. Okay, I have a nitpick, but not a heat of the night, I don't think anything made me flat out angry. I was just like frustrated and fucking bored as shit with this show. But I think the only nitpick I have, I don't like that it's implied that Sasha Banks is already the top contender to close the show. Now, I like Sasha.
Makes sense to me.
Beg pardon?
I'm just saying I don't have a problem with it. It makes sense to me. I mean, who else?
I only have a problem because like she's kind of been off and on because I know she's got other stuff going on. And again, Sasha Banks, the person, the performer, no qualms here. But she did eat the pin at Crown Jewel as well. So she was just in a championship match and she was on losing.
So, like, even though it was a triple threat and that didn't matter, going by wrestling match rules, she shouldn't have lost. You know what I mean?
I mean, yes and no. Because, I mean, you just kind of made both cases at once because it's like it is no DQ. So it's like I'm not really here for that. But at the same time, you are right.
Most matches aren't no DQ, so in most instances, she wouldn't have lost there. It's just like the one outlier instance where it happened to be no DQ and she got caught in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't. I don't want to concede to that, honestly.
Well, let me ask I can see where you're coming from. If not Sasha, who would you have? Would you have had them do like a tournament or something?
Well, I mean, let me just be clear. It's not that it's Sasha. It's just that it's Sasha automatically.
Right.
Like, at least give the presentation that we've got a deeper roster here and you're not just going to fall back on her. Hell, and I could tell. And see, this is the problem, too. It's Charlotte being the champion, and I hate that she's on fucking SmackDown now anyway. So that also compounds the annoyance, if I'm honest. But she is a heel. And they obviously want to make Sasha a face again because Sasha does have the talent where she can easily oscillate between face and heel. The only thing that really dips is her promos, in my opinion. But, you know, Naomi has been like in this storyline with Sonya. I wish there was some way we could get Naomi in the mix, even if it was just like, obviously she's not going to win, but at least she's in that conversation. I hear that they want to make Xia Li a babyface. And now I'm starting to wonder, do we even have any other heels besides Charlotte and fucking Sonya?
Allegedly, they want to make Shotzi a heel too, so there you go.
Shotzi, and God, I have thoughts about that, but she wasn't even on tonight, so that's not relevant, at least right now. Yeah. I don't know, man. So, like, I guess maybe, well, yeah, Zelina. Well, there you go.
No. Zelina's on SmackDown or on Raw now. Zelina went to
Raw. My God, yeah, they took her and Carmella, but oh my God. Okay, so I guess now my problem's kind of compounded.
Zelina, though. I said Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, yeah, because Aaliyah kind of left on babyface terms, beating up Robert Stone, but, like, that doesn't matter.
You were asking who heels were.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, like, they could make her a heel, so I'm agreeing with you, because I'm saying she left on babyface terms.
She's very clearly a heel based on her intro.
Well, yeah, you're probably right. So, I mean, there you go. At the very least, maybe you could do Sasha versus Aaliyah, but at the same time, I think it just shows how shallow the division has become with all, like, the really key players going to Raw. I mean, that really sucks. So, again, to be clear, it's not that Sasha is challenging Charlotte, even though I know a lot of people are sick to death of that match. I'm just sick to death of Charlotte going into business for herself specifically. It's just I would have liked Sasha to have contendership established. But it is what it is. And really, they're just going to do what they want until we get to Survivor Series. And then things may really pick up again after Survivor Series when we're done the brand war bullshit. So that's really, I guess, the only complaint I have on this show.
I want to go over real quick SmackDown's women's roster right now.
Sure.
So obviously Charlotte's the champion. I'm not even going to worry about her. Naomi is in the thing with Sonya. Aaliyah just got her intro tonight. Toni Storm stayed on SmackDown. Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Xia Li got her intro tonight, and Natalya and Shotzi are the only two members of the SmackDown roster that are women.
Then what I hope SmackDown does, so I guess you could even call it a possible nitpick, because really they only had Sasha interrupt Charlotte. Nothing was formally made. I hope they do Sasha versus Shayna. I think it'd be a great match for both, and you have Sasha pull it out. But caveat here, do it in a way that doesn't make Shayna look fucking ridiculous. Apparently she lost to Doudrop the same way she's lost to multiple people, where she doesn't let go of the fucking hold.
Yes.
And they reverse the leverage to get the pin. Like,
yes.
I'm so angry and fed up and tired, and I'm tired. So, yeah, just do it in a way that doesn't make her look ridiculous, but just give Sasha a path.
There's a part of me that thinks that Sasha is going to beat Charlotte for the title, and that they only kept the Raw Women's title on Charlotte long enough to have her swap it for the SmackDown one to get that extra title reign under her belt, and now she's going to lose it right away to Sasha, and then we're going to get Sasha Shayna for that SmackDown Women's title.
You might be right, man. We'll have to wait and see. I do think the story between Becky and Bianca is more interesting because that Raw title is what we more closely associate with her, and Bianca beating her for it, which I do think is ultimately going to happen. I know Dominique Adams had a great few tweets about that very point. That I really strongly agreed with. I think that's going to put Bianca right back where she was to start, right on the map, and at least that's what I'm hoping happens. So I have no idea what Survivor Series is going to look like. I don't think anything is necessarily a done deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, just give Sasha a little bit of a path, especially if she's going to be babyface for this. So that's it.
Low-key, Raw got kind of a loaded women's division for this draft. They got, obviously, Bianca and Becky are both there. They kept Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley. They also ended up getting the two bigger girls, Doudrop and Nia Jax, which I'm pretty ambivalent towards that. But they got Zelina, who is now the Queen of the Ring. They got Liv, Bliss, Carmella, Mia Yim, Tamina, and Tegan Nox.
Yeah, that is not a bad haul at all.
Yeah.
If they were smart, they really would put more time in the women for their programming on a 3-hour fucking show. Yeah. But again, that's all for me. I even talked about it more than I wanted to anyway.
Honestly, I kind of think Asuka and Bayley should both end up on SmackDown, just given how deep Raw's women's division is.
I agree with you. I think Bayley should pick up right where she left off on SmackDown. Even though I could understand a reset with her more if they wanted to do that.
And it would make a lot of sense, too, if Sasha's champion when Bayley comes back. Like, that would be perfect for them to resume their feud.
Yeah, and Asuka absolutely should go on SmackDown. I think she really hasn't gotten any extended time there, and I think she'd actually maybe have one of her best runs there if
I
they
think
really gave it to her.
I think Bailey definitely makes more sense on SmackDown. I think Asuka can go either way. Like SmackDown needs her more, but if she wanted to just stay the fuck away from Charlotte as far as possible, I would understand that as well.
Absolutely. So, with all of that said, do you have any nitpicks or heats of the night?
Dude, I don't want to be repetitive, but I fucking hate everything Happy Corbin. Everything involved in him and everything related to him. I just despise it, and I'm not going to stop disliking it at any time soon.
I skipped it again, dude. I'm not tolerating it. Like my tolerance, as you can already tell
I
by
got
like
my
how I
hopes
said
up,
this review.
and I kind of hate
Yeah.
myself for it, but I got my hopes up when Rick Boogs started playing Nakamura's theme and the crowd started singing it. I was like, oh my god, Boogs is going to help Nakamura kind of power up and beat Corbin, and then fucking Madcap Moss comes over and grabs the guitar, and we get a whole skirmish on the outside that looks sloppy as fuck because, of course, he's Moss. He's green as Moss. And he doesn't stand close enough to the ring to get properly baseball slid onto by Nakamura, so that looked like shit. And yeah, it was just all bad. And then Corbin wins because I just can't be happy with this show.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, there's more I could say about Happy Corbin, but it's wasted because this is what we're stuck with, and it's horrible. So, yeah, is that all?
I think so, yeah.
All right, then let us get into our Friday night SmackDown review. Roman Reigns comes out. Love the interplay here between him and Paul Heyman.
Dude.
Really grilling Paul Heyman, about seemed like you were handing that title to Brock. Did you forget how to hand the title to me? And kind of like,
I was worried for Paul. I was worried for Paul. There were a few points, like even just watching Crown Jewel yesterday and seeing how that match played out, I was thinking like Paul was going to get his ass beat tonight.
Yeah. It the tension was great. Paul,
I'm starting to think that Roman maybe thinks or realizes that he needs Paul more than he lets on.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't think that he needed Paul all that much, this would have been a great opportunity to get him the fuck out. Like he could have Superman punch into an Uso super kick duo would have like been justified. I think most people would say would have been justified, but I think he's kind of, I don't know. There's a little bit of like, Paul, I'm not happy with you, but you get a pass on this one, which you wouldn't expect from someone that's so much of like a sociopath type character.
Yeah, I mean, Roman, I think we've always known as a very insecure champion. I think he plays that very well.
Yeah.
I think that's why he didn't give up on getting Jimmy Uso in the ranks when he was resistant at first, because Roman is thinking, I've got to think about the title reign. I've got to put that first. If I could just get Jimmy on my side, I fortify my reign, and I can run this as long as I want to run it. And he's got to feel the same way about Paul Heyman, because think about it. Paul Heyman in character is the legal guy. He's the guy that proofreads the contracts. He's the guy that amends the contracts. He's the guy that tells Pierce what's what.
Yeah.
Right? And Reigns likes having that leverage. So, yeah, I agree with you, man. I definitely think he needs Paul Heyman as a character.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't want to let that loose. I love, though, and this is what I love about the heel Roman character, is that it's such a dependent character, but he's never going to be, like, explicit about that dependency. He's always going to, masquerade it under this facade of control and power.
Yeah.
Straight up tells Paul, you're not very good at your job, are you? And, really, like, berates him.
I get, like, very serious, like, Reign of Terror Triple H vibes from Roman, only done better.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I was even
I always
watching...
got those, like, really deeply insecure, needs to kind of insulate himself behind a wall of bodies kind of vibe from that Triple H, too. But, of course, he would always win because of it. And then because he got those W's, he had that confidence to be like, I beat this guy, I beat that guy, even though we know, having watched the product, that he didn't beat all these guys. It was him and his entire system of support that eventually ended up beating those guys.
I mean, I'll say it. As somebody that lived through the Reign of Terror, and I know you did too,
yeah.
I think Reigns, even if somebody would want to argue retroactively, like a few years from now, that, this was the Reigns Reign of Terror, I'd let them genuinely make their case. I'm not going to scoff at it and shoot it down, but I would say this. I would say that I think Roman has far more charisma than Triple H ever did as world champion. and like he's just entertaining. Like, while Triple H, and you've always called it, like, and that's what kind of brought us together, because you used to have blog before this. I read it. I liked it. Pulling a Triple H where you want to look cool while still being a heel. To me, I don't think Roman is trying to look cool in that way. I think it's all projection psychologically. He's projecting the image of being cool. He's projecting the image of being in control. Yeah. But you see the little things he does. If his eyes look downward, or maybe he looks away or something like that. I noticed that a few times in the Kevin Owens feud. Kevin Owens would call him like a high school theater production of like a mob boss. And Reigns, you could see like his eyes just shifted away from Owens because he couldn't face that.
Yeah.
Couldn't face when Jay, when he was, before he became main event Jey Uso, when he was real talking Roman then. It's those little bit of nuances. But you see Roman here, speaking of like body language and facial expression, he's smiling. He's high off his own supply, man, and I love it. He's like, Brock Lesnar's afraid of me. Where is he at, Paul? Where is he at? He has Paul show him the tweet on his phone, and then Reigns knocks Paul's phone out of his hands. It's great. I think, too, and a lot of people are debating who's going to be the one to beat Roman. Obviously, I think the consensus right now seems to be Drew McIntyre.
That's my guess.
Obviously,
I would not call it a consensus, though, dude. I've suggested that it would be Drew in the Discord a few times, and it almost every time is met with opposition.
And I will say the only other popular pick that I've personally seen beyond Jey Uso, because I think people still want that to happen, but I gave up on that the moment Jimmy came back, is The Rock, and I hate that idea. Yeah. I have gone on record. I viscerally fucking reject that idea.
Yep. And the only other name that I viscerally reject is Brock.
Yeah, no, Brock shouldn't win, and and that's a perfect segue, because Brock does come out, and Reigns, to his credit, I honestly thought Reigns was going to duck out, and then they would do the invisible ropes thing, which I hate. But what we got was so much better. Reigns actually does try to get the jump on Brock. He tries to get the belt shot. Lesnar ducks, lariats him to the outside. Goes to the outside, and more or less just freaking dominates him. Grabs a set of what was that?
I said throws him around. Yeah, like
throws him around. Yeah, he ragdolls him.
Out, he ragdolls them, literally throws him over the barricade, and then goes back to Roman. And eventually, they literally have to bring out the locker room to keep Brock from going after Roman more.
Yeah, I mean, it was really well done. Brock destroyed, and McAfee sold this amazingly, because he's so good. He's a mark in the best kind of way. He's like, oh, it's a $10,000 camera, like just freaking out. The cameraman being shoved and the camera being destroyed. Yep. Yeah, this Brock Lesnar, because even when I've hated how they've used Brock Lesnar, just because I do like a world champion that's full-time on TV, I've never denied that Brock Lesnar, I think, is one of the smartest businessmen in the wrestling business, and that anybody that really wants to succeed should just try and be like Brock in their own way, because there's only one Brock Lesnar. He's definitely a generational talent, but learn from this dude, because I guarantee you this is a guy, if he declared tomorrow that he was retiring just to his farm and he was retiring from people, he could subsist for the rest of his life probably. I'm willing to fucking bet with his name value and everything. He comes, he destroys stuff. He worked the Saudi show the night before, and I'm guessing he's made probably millions just from those two appearances combined. I mean,
we've already had reports that came out that he signed a 3 or 4 year, $10 million contract. He gets paid big time.
Yeah. And you know what? When you see segments like this, almost makes me want to say worth the money, because Brock has a believability to him when he's destroying shit. Yeah. The crowd was so into this. Ponytail Brock might be my favorite Brock.
I think I'm here for this. I'm locking it in. Ponytail with the beard, Viking Brock is number one on my favorite list of Brock Lesnar's.
And then, after he destroys all this property, after he just asserts his dominance as the alpha male of our species, per Pat McAfee, which, speaking of our TWitWoW awards, that may very well be a quote of the year.
That is a really good candidate for sure.
Adam Pearce comes out, and apparently he woke up and chose death, which is quite lucky for him, because Brock Lesnar woke up and chose violence. Adam Pearce says that Brock Lesnar is indefinitely suspended. Brock comes out again, and he already has this face excuse me? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah.
Gets in the ring.
He's like, I got really bad cauliflower ear over here. You might want to say that a little louder.
Yeah. And he's like, "What'd you say? Say it again." He's like kind of like choking Pierce with his own like
Yeah.
collar. Pierce, I said you were indefinitely suspended. And just like he backs him in the corner. Adjusts. He's like, "Oh, okay. I thought that's what you said. That's good. Not F5." And crowd pops, picks him up again. F5 again. Then he grabs the mic and he's like, "Can you say that again, please?" Puts it up to Pierce's face. McAfee is just dunking on Pierce the whole time. Like, I love that. He's just like, Pierce made the wrong call.
Yeah.
Pierce is a doofus. He's just letting Pierce have it. And yeah, Brock just kind of smacks him around with the microphone, and then he just leaves. Pierce as a broken wreck. This was beautifully done. This to me was, if I didn't love Hit Row so goddamn much, this would have easily been the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
Like, this was really good stuff. After this, we get Sonya backstage. Naomi wants to run it back with her.
Oh, hang on, man. I wanted to actually talk about the suspension thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Just because in my mind, I feel like there were two different ways that they could have done this so much better.
Okay.
So one of the ways is they could have had Pierce come out and say that he's heard from directly from Fox executives that Brock Lesnar is suspended indefinitely. That way, it makes it very clear that Pierce isn't the one that did it. So when Brock attacks him, it makes Brock look more like a piece of shit. Or, my preferred way to do it is you have Pierce come out and suspend Brock for 30 days. Then Brock comes out and attacks him. And then at some point later in the night backstage, Pierce says Brock's suspended for 90 days now.
You know what? I like that second option only because it's very clear they want to make Brock the babyface in this feud.
Yeah.
And that keeps that babyface momentum,
Well,
whereas the first one, you kind of muddy the lines a little bit to me.
Yeah. I mean, you say in this feud, I don't know if the Brock Roman thing is even going to continue for much longer. I think that might be over now. I don't know.
From what I read, and we always take every source with a grain of salt, but apparently this feud is supposed to continue because they like the idea of Heyman, like the question of, is he a double agent? Who is he aligned with?
Gotcha.
So I think they want to keep that going. But here's the thing. The suspension does make it where you can, extend it however long.
Yeah.
I don't know what Roman's going to do in the meantime, because obviously, I one thing I will say with confidence, I'm 95% sure. Always like to leave that little margin of error. We're getting Big E versus Roman, at Survivor Series. That I'm confident about.
Okay.
So I don't know what Roman does in the meantime until then, because I don't know if you want to hotshot that feud with Drew. But yeah, I do like your second idea better though, only because then it really makes it seem like, okay, don't expect Brock for a while, because I don't want people getting the idea, and I don't think they should get the idea given Brock's history, that he's just going to violate the suspension and show up like next week or 2 weeks from now. Like, this is meant to give Brock that long absence, and I think your option, too, would have made that more explicitly clear. So I do like that.
I think if there's anyone on the Raw roster that I would actually be okay with beating Big E before Survivor Series, it's Keith Lee, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
He's the only one that could get booked into such bullshit to rob Big E of having a nice, healthy, long title reign, and I'd be like, you know what? This is acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be like, anybody else, I'd be so mad, but we just want the best for you, so I'm going to let it slide.
Yeah. All right. I think next was Drew. Oh, you were talking about the Naomi Sonya stuff. I'm going to let you resume that.
Oh, yes. Thank you. So yeah, Naomi more or less wants to run it back. Sonya's like, of course you want to make it about you. You see what I'm dealing with. Like, no, it's not happening. Naomi doesn't even get a match tonight. And Drew then comes in, says, oh, Smackdown now. Did my stuff on Raw. So I'll tell you what, whether you like it or not, I'm going to do an open challenge tonight. He leaves to do that. Then we get our open challenge, McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Ashton, we got to talk about the elephant in the room here. Sami Zayn seemingly has new theme music.
Yeah.
It's a sad day. It's a sad day. That was one of the most iconic themes of all time. I'm not even raging about it, only because I get it. With him as a heel, you don't want a theme that necessarily works the crowd. But, like, damn, it was such a good theme, It's kind of one of those things where it's like you get it, but you don't want to get it.
The odd thing, too, is that we still have the oh at the beginning as, like, the same intro to his old theme, I think.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a fake out. It's like, oh, uplifting. Yeah. Oh, not. Nothing's uplifting in my world. Fuck you.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what it actually fully sounds like. I didn't get that great of like a listen to it. Hopefully it's good though. You know.
Absolutely. So what did you think about? Because I know Sammy kind of talked about how, like, he's been kind of a mainstay here on SmackDown. He's the greatest superstar here, and like he really doesn't care about
Yeah.
what McIntyre did on Raw because if he's here on SmackDown, that means you're at the bottom, kid. I think he even called McIntyre a kid. It's like you're new here, kid. And so Sammy very condescending, always hilarious.
I love
Um,
Sammy. Like no matter whether he's getting humiliated or being the one doing the humiliating or anywhere in between, I love Sami Zayn. He's so fucking good.
I am gonna say right now because honestly, my own takes are entertaining me more than the product at present. So I will say, if Roman wasn't so fucking good, and if we didn't already have a heel as world champion, I would want Sammy to be world champion with this gimmick so bad
Yeah.
because it's so perfect for the zeitgeist that we're in, where like conspiracy theories are the truth.
Yeah.
All this other stuff. Like it's the embodiment of the cultural moment that we're in.
Man,
This
I don't
gimmick.
know how many more times I'm going to need to ask for this and if we're ever going to get it. But it would be really nice if, because obviously Sammy isn't going to go after Roman, both being heels. It'd be nice if he went after Nakamura once Nakamura gets past bullshit Corbin.
If he gets past bullshit.
I
Corbin,
said
which
what I said and I meant what I said.
Okay, wasn't in love with the tone, but I understand it. So yeah, I agree with you. I just feel like again, that's not a knock at Roman at all. I think everybody here can attest to that. I'm just saying that it's almost a shame when a guy is as good as Roman is, because there are so many other people at the bottom that are doing quality work that you're just curious about what could they do if they were given that spot.
Yep.
I think Sammy would be killing it.
Yep.
Oh my god, like
you give him anything, he turns everything into gold.
I mean, hell, he honestly, and I'm not even against Drew. I don't know what it was. I just really wasn't feeling the idea of Drew doing an open challenge and this and that. But Drew versus Sammy was fine.
Yeah.
You're talking about two quality guys. And Sammy had the best moment in this whole thing because he's looking for the haluva kick. He mocks the Claymore countdown.
3, 2, 1, yeah.
Yeah, and then he runs right into the Claymore. So he did the countdown for Drew.
Yep. Wait, doesn't Drew do a count up? Like, doesn't he count 1, 2, 3, or does he do the countdown?
I always feel like he does the countdown.
Okay.
That was always my understanding.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. All right. I might be thinking of like Papa Ray Dudley when they do the 3D.
Yeah, maybe that is what you're thinking of.
But yeah, it was a cool finish, and I don't think anyone expected Sammy to actually win.
No, not at all. It's just kind of a shame that this is where Sammy is in the company. Like he's kind of like the heater, I guess, for other people.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I thought like later on in the night when we saw Sheamus's face and he did like the little intro thing to be like, "Oh, no one works in the ring like me" or whatever. I was thinking to myself, like, why was he not the one to answer Drew's challenge? What is Sammy doing voluntarily getting his ass beat by a specimen like Drew?
You know what, though? That just tells you, like, because that's the thing. As much as we would want things for certain characters or performers as the fans that we are, I know as we've gotten older, we've just appreciated that, hey, the company must value them somewhat if they're consistently getting TV time and they've consistently got a spot. And maybe they didn't want to run Sheamus and Drew back so soon.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what, Sammy? You're always good for a match. You're always good for a promo. Go and do your thing tonight, and you'll be a great heater for Drew. Especially because I would say, and this is not a knock on Sheamus, who I actually feel like his recent work's been pretty good, but I would say that Sammy has more heat than Sheamus at present. And so it's like, you know what, we really want to get Drew over as the babyface on SmackDown, the hero of SmackDown, to be a foil to Reigns down the road. Go be that heater for him so that people pop when you get your head kicked off.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Sammy achieved that. Sammy is such a consummate fucking pro that honestly, everybody's always talking like, is Kevin going to leave, which I definitely think he is. Is Sammy going to leave? Sammy's a guy, the more I think about it, because you guys already know when I talked about it on the Sammy side of things, I didn't think he would leave. And I would even say that Sammy's so freaking good at this that if he wanted, he could probably have a job for life with that company. Because I guarantee you, a lot like TJ with the women, they'd probably love Sammy as like an agent or some shit.
You know what though, dude? I would have said that about Brian too.
Yeah. And Brian was just like, no, I want to keep wrestling. But I feel like, with Sammy, it depends on what Sammy wants. I know he's passionate about, I know he's passionate about Sammy for Syria.
Yep.
He seems like he's in a good spot now, but maybe he disagrees with that. Only Sammy knows that. But I'm just saying that I think he's so talented, and I know like we both agree on that I think any job he wanted in the company, he would just have to ask for it.
Yeah, he's an incredible
So
asset.
oh, absolutely. I honestly, I think he's one of the best assets the company has. Period. Like, you just give him anything and he does it, like you said earlier.
You're not
So,
gonna catch me fighting with you on that, man.
so we get another Hit Row vignette because we know they're coming later tonight, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to say about their
Yes.
debut. Then we get Xavier Woods' coronation. How'd you feel about all this, man?
I mean, good for X, but I was falling asleep halfway through this. It took so long. I feel like it really drew it out.
Yeah, they drew it out, and man, I don't know. Like, obviously Xavier isn't going to turn heel, and I'm not even saying turn on the New Day. I'm over that shit. I got over that shit like after a year or two of them staying together because you could just tell.
I mean, without Big E's charm and intros, I could see X and Kofi having a heel run as tag champs.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting. But yeah, I guess that is the only caveat, Ashton. If it's going to be a heel turn, it would have to be as a unit because it's not going to be a heel turn like, oh, I'm tired of you, Kofi. The only way I could have believed that is if it was those two in the finals. And then Kofi beats Woods because of how bad Woods fucking wanted this shit. But they didn't go that route. I think it's good they didn't go that route. But I will say, like, New Day's been together so long. And I think, breaking them up is the lazy route. I think it's actually more of a challenge to keep them together. But you gotta do something with Woods now being King Woods. And I don't know. Like, I hate that Corbin more than likely is going to be the Intercontinental Champion, either him or Jinder. God, because I really need to see Jinder fucking Mahal beat Shinsuke Nakamura again. If it's not going to be one of those guys, which if the universe was merciful, it wouldn't be. I would love if Woods beat Nakamura. It'd be fitting. Nakamura surrendered his crown. Xavier Woods picked it up. Nakamura won the Intercontinental title, and Xavier Woods took it from him. I think that'd be, very interesting. And I'd like to see Woods with a singles run. I think, I know I used to make fun of his selling and stuff as like, oh, he's got the best cry face in the business, but he's a really well-rounded, fucking talented performer. I'd like to see him with a mid-card title.
Yeah, or, we could do what I said and just do Sammy over Nakamura because we still haven't gotten that match since their first match in NXT.
Yeah, we could do Sammy over Nakamura and then Xavier over Sammy. I think that's a nice lineage for the IC title, honestly.
There you go. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Just as long as we avoid the Corbin and Mahal pit stops.
I mean, well, I'll just reiterate. You said what you said, and you stand by it. So, yeah, because I'm nowhere near as optimistic, unfortunately. But good for Woods. I just hope that something happens with this. And man, like, even Kofi. Now that they got the world title on Kofi, they gave him that run. I know he had the program with Lashley, which wasn't even bad, but I think Kofi and Roman could do some fun stuff. I like when Roman faces real undercard guys.
Dude, I was even wondering if, like, the two tournament winners were going to get world title shots. Like, Zelina gets a shot at Becky, Xavier gets a shot at Roman. Just as, like, a one-off. I don't expect either one of them to win, but I think it would be interesting.
I think it'd be interesting too, man. I'm hoping they do that. They really, like, ever since 2002 when Brock won and they had it just for him, like, oh, the winner gets an undisputed championship match at SummerSlam. That should have been the fucking norm going forward. You win the King of the Ring, you get a world title shot at the SummerSlam pay-per-view. Obviously, that did not fucking happen. But, yeah, I'd be all for that, man. Yeah. Xavier versus Roman at a pay-per-view, that's the kind of shit I want.
Because we've already seen X can look credible. And he did look credible and legit against Bobby Lashley. And Lashley's way more intimidating than Roman.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a fucking doubt.
Didn't X beat Lashley one time?
He did beat him one time, yeah.
I thought so. So yeah, if he can beat Bobby Lashley and not look out of place, there's no reason he can't do the same to Roman.
Yeah. Yeah, I 1,000% agree with you. We know the New Day draws, and we know when the WWE puts their back into it, they can write really compelling storylines where a clear underdog like Woods, people would be rabid for him to win the fucking title.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you got to be careful, though. You got to be careful, because if you write it too good, people are actually going to get pissed if he doesn't win it.
Yeah, that's true. And then Roman can laugh about it. But yeah, I mean, Woods, the cards are in the New Day's hands. I think they always have been, and for good reason, because they keep knocking it out of the damn park. Becky Lynch cuts a brief little backstage promo, teasing like, oh, maybe 2 belts Bex makes a comeback. No, that didn't happen. Xia Li vignette coming soon. We've already kind of talked about her at length on NXT. I'll be curious how SmackDown treats her, especially because they want her to be a babyface. I don't know if she's going to regress back to what she was before Tian Sha, or if they're going to go a different direction. So I'm going to keep the door open on that, and we'll discuss it when it happens.
Yeah.
Mansoor versus Ali.
It was good.
It was good, yeah. It was good. Mansoor
Not
wins
as good
again.
as their Crown Jewel match, but still good.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch Crown Jewel. I only read the spoilers, but I heard it was a great show. I heard it was the best Saudi show they had by far.
Well, I haven't watched any of the other ones, but it got me to watch, so I guess that'll tell you something.
Yeah, there you go.
And then again, I also took like a nearly 2-hour nap after the show. So
after the show, though, that's the important thing.
That's true. I did end up watching the show in full, so that's fair.
But yeah, Mansoor, he grabs Ali's legs on a roll-up attempt, and he gets the 3 count.
I was a little disappointed by the result here. I was hoping because Manny beat Ali at Crown Jewel that Ali would get a win here, and we would set up a rubber match for later down the line.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch Crown Jewel again. And I never really watched these guys on Raw. I was looking forward to their tag team on SmackDown, because I feel like SmackDown could have used tag teams. And here's the thing, too, like, my heart breaks for Ali, man. Because, like, the dude is so good. And look, this isn't anything against Mansoor. Like, obviously, he's good, too. It's not that he's shit. Yeah. And WWE's going to choose who they want to push. But Ali, whether as a heel or as a face, he's a compelling fucking talker. He has a great look. I mean, look, I'm just... God, I hope what I'm about to say isn't insensitive. I'm always afraid about putting my foot in my mouth. But with WWE wanting to be, more multiracial, like pushing more non-white performers, being ahead of that, they've promoted, hashtag Black Excellence with Big E and Bianca, and it's fucking wonderful. Ali was even talking about 2 Muslim guys just had a singles match on a WWE pay-per-view. That's huge. Like, God, man, I know Vince is a conservative and he's got his fucking, bullshit. He's probably deeply Islamophobic if I had to fucking guess. But, like, man, if you really wanted to look like a progressive company, for the fucking woke points and late stage capitalism, fucking push this dude.
Yeah.
He's so good. Like, God, I hate that I even have to say it like that because that shouldn't even matter. He's just a good performer, period. But I mean, Jesus Christ, bonus points because he overcomes the fucking structural racism and this and that, and he's still fucking good. And he talks about, at least when he was a face, talked about police brutality, class division, racism, all this shit as a heel. A legitimate axe to grind. I just feel like, man, I really feel like Ali is going to be that guy when people in the golden era talked about, Jake the Snake should have been WWE champion or Mr. Perfect. For our generation, Ali's name is going to come up. We're going to be like, that guy should have been a world champion. Because I don't know. I don't know if the ship has sailed for him and if it's ever going to come back.
Dude, you know what, though? And again, I hate to kind of bring this up, but you can hear the reason why Vince won't make him a world champion every single time he comes out and gets announced as being 182 pounds. That right there is enough of a reason for Vince to be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. That's really a fucking shame. It's really a fucking shame. Because again, man, sort of like, fine. He's good. I have no problem with him. But I look at Ali and I look at how this dude got jerked around, a few years ago with like Money in the Bank. And then like, hey, nothing against Kofi. Kofi Mania was legit fucking magical. But let's not forget, that was supposed to be Ali's spot, And he got injured, and it happens, and I get it. But what I've always hated about the whole injury-prone thing, or like, the whole like kind of devour each other kind of thing, is that his ability didn't diminish while he was injured. He came back, and he was still speaking the same truth. He still had the same likability and magnetism. Hell, when he got his shot at fucking Bryan and shit against Kevin Owens, that one Fastlane match, which I feel like was a really underrated match that year. He did fucking great in it, and he was a part of the breathtaking finishing sequence where he went off the middle rope and got intercepted with a fucking Busaiku. The dude's fucking money. He can do anything you ask him to, a lot like Sami Zayn in that regard. And seeing him lose here, it's like, man, it really hit me like how far he's fallen. He's got nothing going on right now. And low-key, and I know this is a fucking Hail Mary, but I hope that this story, because Mansoor's beaten him twice, that it's going to open Ali's mind a little bit, that maybe my way of thinking was wrong and he had it the right way, and Ali goes face again, and maybe we could do Ali versus Reigns. I like when Reigns goes against underdog fucking guys, because he's a lot like, oddly enough, he is a lot like Brock, where I think he makes him look really good. He still wins, but I'd like to get Ali back in that conversation. I think Ali Reigns would be another really solid pay-per-view matchup. Is it going to happen? Fuck, it isn't. But, it's just a shame. He's immensely talented, and I think it's being pretty much wasted, if I'm honest. So, yeah, Mansoor wins, and that's really all I can say about it. But after this, we get our roll call. Rich Holland, Aaliyah, Humberto, and Garza, and Sheamus all cut promos. What'd you think about these, bro?
I liked Ridge's, hated Aaliyah's, loved that Humberto and Carrillo even, or that Humberto and Angel even got one. That was just cool to see. I'm hoping that they end up being in the conversation with the Usos at least to have some matches and maybe go after the tag titles. And like I said, when Sheamus came on the screen, I was just like, why did he not answer Drew's challenge earlier? That would have been so much more interesting and like have story behind it and stuff. But no, they just ran him through Sammy out there because, like you said, he's just that like go-to guy. He's the good hand to have kind of thing.
I completely agree, man. I'm personally hoping Humberto and Garza may very well be our next tag team champions. Like, I'd love to see them in a feud of the Usos. Awesome. I think if you're talking about underrated match of the year, whatever tag title match they have could very well be it, because I could see a lot of people overlooking that shit. Holland, God, it's right there. I hope.
Dude, I feel like already I have better vibes from him here on SmackDown than I ever had from the way they portrayed him in NXT.
Yeah.
To me, the way that they portrayed him in NXT was very consistently like green as goose shit rookie that's still learning the ropes and is going to lose a lot of matches because he's not good at this yet. SmackDown, they've already portrayed him as more of like a legit monster than NXT ever did.
I just hope he runs roughshod. And you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't mind if he had a little bit of Finley in him. And even against people that he's struggling against more, if he needed to, fucking use the Billy Club as a weapon. I don't give a shit. I just want this dude to dominate and get his heel heat. I think they got a real star here. In him. And Sheamus, of course, again, like you said, reliable hand. You just stick him in there. It's good shit. Then we get to Hit Row.
Yes.
Oh, brother, I'm going to let you talk as much as you want about this. How'd you feel about all of this?
You know what, dude? This is one of the most disappointing exposures I've ever had to Hit Row because it didn't fucking last long enough. They had awesome intros individually. Ashanti the Adonis went first, then Top Dollar, then Swerve. B-Fab had very little to say, but she got her hit, her usual hits in. Because everywhere she goes, she B-Fab, like all that stuff. And then we got a match, and it was Swerve and Top Dollar versus a couple of just complete random local jobber types. And this is where I was like, come on, you got to give me more than this. Because we got like two moves from Swerve, and then Top Dollar went in, dominated, and won the match. And I'm like, why are they depriving us of Hit Row in the ring? Why?
How do you feel, just because, again, I wanted you to talk more about this, because I know I've just kind of run through this show. How do you feel about the reports that, like, they seemingly want to make Top Dollar like a big single star, and they're going to stick Swerve with Ashanti as a tag team?
I'm fine with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would rather see Swerve achieve single success as well. But if you had to only have one single star out of these four, Top Dollar makes sense because it's Vince and he's always going to go for the big guys.
Bro, I guess all I'm going to say to that is that I hope WWE learned, and I say that like it's past tense when they're still here, but I really do hope they've learned from the experience of having the New Day as a faction, in the sense that I hope they keep their mind open that any one of these three guys could be a single star, and they don't just like pigeonhole them. That's the word I'm looking for. They don't pigeonhole them. Like, I don't want them to look at
I
Swerve
hope you're
and
right,
be like,
man. I hope you're right. I really hope you're right here because I have very serious doubts about Vince's ability to not see Swerve and immediately think like lower card guy at best.
Oh, bro, let me just get ahead of this and say your fears are absolutely well founded. That's why I'm saying, like, I hope they learn from the New Day, because it's very likely they didn't, and that's really sad. Because I do think Swerve is like that potential. Top Dollar very clearly does. I will say this, speaking of the Usos earlier with Carrillo and Garza, I cannot wait for Hit Row and Bloodline to interact, and if they don't do it, you're out of your goddamn mind. Like, that's really all I have to say. Debut was fine, promos were great, but when you look at how these guys carry themselves, when you look at, I mean, they're cool, they're fun, they're legit, they're great babyface foils to people like the Bloodline, because Roman's super serious and he's got to carry the show all the time. And like, I just imagine Top Dollar fucking ripping Roman trying to act like he ain't bothered, but he's bothered. And it's money. It's money to me. If they do not have those two factions interact, I don't understand wrestling anymore. And quite honestly, to be that guy, maybe I don't want to understand it if that's what it's come to. I feel like it's inevitable that those two factions clash. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I agree with everything you said, that I do hope they see Swerve as a star as well, because I'd love to see him get his flowers too in that regard. But yeah, Top Dollar, you know, I even said frequently on NXT, he's a star. He's a star. He's a star. So yeah, put him in there and find out. Let's see how much mileage he's really got when he's in there with the main event right now in Roman Reigns. I'm all for that. So that was that. I think after this, we got Sonya Deville giving an update on Adam Pearce, pretty much taking digs at him, you know, saying like, oh, he's not a spring chicken and this and that, but he's going to be all right. He just kind of left me to clean up this mess. Then we get Nakamura and Happy Corbin skipping the fuck out of that. Then we get the whole belt exchange. That pretty much happens, and Sasha attacks Charlotte to end the show, stands tall after giving Charlotte a Meteora, and, you know, it's just kind of like, this is my show.
It was a pretty dope Meteora to the outside. It looked really good.
Oh, absolutely. Sasha, she's brilliant in the ring. No question about it. Anything else you want to say about SmackDown?
Thankfully, I don't think I do.
High spots, low shots. My low shot, very easy. Adam Pearce. You got bitch the fuck out. Who's your low shot?
I mean, he's not an active competitor anymore. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, you know, maybe you should have made that announcement from the comfort of your office. You know, he was on screen
that would
tonight.
have been wise. I agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah, he was on screen. I'm taking it. Who's your low shot?
All right. My low shot, let's see. It's very tempting to make it those two local talents because they did get destroyed, but we didn't have expectations for them. So I think I'm going to go the way that hurts me, the direction that gives me internal pain, and that's Sami Zayn. You answered an open challenge. You even tried mocking your opponent by doing his taunt, and it only led to you doing his taunt for him because he immediately destroyed you and beat you.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world to me.
Honestly, I feel like you and I hit on the two biggest low shots of tonight, regardless.
Yeah.
Because I think Pearce and Zayn were definitely the two biggest losers of tonight's show.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm going to say my high spot. Oh, God. You know what? I'm going to say my high spot is fucking Becky. She won at Crown Jewel, got to have her belt exchange, didn't get hit or anything while everybody else had their skirmish. She just came in, did business, and left undisturbed and still undefeated as a champion. So that's pretty fucking cool. Big time back. So I'm just going to make her a very simple high spot.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I was actually kind of proud of her when Sasha showed up and she started getting into it with Charlotte, and Becky was just like, well, I'm going to go to Raw. You two can figure this out on your own. And she left. She just peaced out. I was like, good for you, Bex. Good for you.
That's an intelligent champion right there.
Yeah. High spot for me is going to be, let's see, who do I give it to? We already had that. God. I don't even know, because I feel like no one really won other than, like, you know, Hit Row, obviously, but I just gave... No, yeah, I guess I will give my high spot to Hit Row, honestly. It's like, I feel like it's almost too obvious, but, like, honestly, John, can you think of anyone else that would even be, like, a good honorable high spot for the night?
Honorable high spot?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, like...
Because, like, Rick Boogs fucked up and ended up contributing to Nakamura losing to Corbin. Nakamura lost to Corbin. Fuck Corbin. I don't care if you won. You're not getting my high spot. And like, what else is there?
Exactly.
Like, I
I mean,
could give
dude,
it to
that's
Drew, but like, I already gave my low shot to Sami Zayn, and I don't like giving my high spot and low shot to two people in the same segment.
right. No, I'm right there with you, man. I mean, that's why I reached and grabbed Bex just out of nowhere
Yeah.
because I refused to give my high spot to Corbin. Like, fuck that. I will
Were
hold
there?
this show hostage
Oh
before I do
yeah,
that.
Manny and Ali was pretty much the only other match I think tonight. It was literally just Drew Zane, Manny Ali, Hit Row's match, and that's it, right? Those are the only three matches.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Good lord, yeah, dude, it was wild. Drew, when he got in the ring and issued his open challenge, he said something about how we're finally going to have a match tonight. I looked at the clock; it was 40 minutes into the show before we had any matches.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right.
And the main event segment wasn't even a match. It was a segment. It was a talking
Yeah.
segment. Like, holy, we literally bookended the show with talking segments, including the first one going 40 minutes.
Vince be like, you all miss talking smack so much. Here's your fucking talking smack.
More like
God.
smack talking.
Oh, God. Brought to you by Tout.
Tout, 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 tout.
God, I am fucking hilarious. Okay.
Oh my
So
God.
with that said,
He really
this
just
has
said that
been
out loud.
TWitWoW. I mean, you know, I gotta be honest. This has been TWitWoW. This has been Smackdown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my coordinate commentary action, guys. Be sure to like the videos you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to the top search result for Friday Night SmackDown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you never get missed any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box, including our Patreon, where we offer price breakdowns for TWitWoW requests and other stuff. Also, two things we offer to patrons: additional Q&A questions. Q&A is in 6 days, October 28th, the last Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you donate $1 to the Patreon, you get up to 5 Q&A questions. If you're a non-Patreon donor, you only get 3 Q&A questions. So, yeah, just donate $1, you get 2 additional questions. For $3, though, you get the additional Q&A questions and access to the TWitWoW Discord. It's a great Discord, pretty much a channel for everything you can think of. And we do game nights on Mondays. We do everything from Among Us to we played Code Names recently, and that was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that one. So, yeah, join the Discord, be part of the TWitWoW community more intimately. Greatly appreciate it. Follow us both on Twitter. I am at John_TWitWoW. My pinned tweet is dedicated to collecting your Q&A questions. Again, Q&A is in 6 days, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the 28th. Be there, get your questions in. Pinned tweet's a really easy way to participate in Q&A. Ashton's pinned tweet is the TWitWoW schedule for the month, and I think he actually got it up rather promptly, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just going to take a look at this, and I will see.
I do have to make some tweaks, not tweets, but tweaks to the schedule because Stardom has been slower to upload. I think the current plan is for us to go live tomorrow. I'll let you decide, by the way, if we go live at 7 or 8. I'd be fine with doing 8 o'clock if you wanted to for Stardom.
You know what? I'm only gonna say 8 o'clock because I know I'm going out with the family tomorrow, and I don't know what time we'll be back.
Okay.
And I do want some time with them, like just
Yeah.
kind of vegging out. So start on
So yeah,
hopefully
8 o'clock tomorrow.
8, guys.
Plus, it'll probably be like a 2-hour show or so. So we won't be up for too long or loud for too long or anything like that. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. So Saturday at 8, guys, we're gonna try and aim for Stardom. And then that's it for the week. And then just next week, the 19th, we're going to be live reacting to NXT. It's Halloween Havoc. Please, Braun Breaker, win the NXT Championship. It's more than likely... Beg pardon?
Sorry, I said, please go.
Yeah, please. But yeah, guys, the trajectory that this is going on, that may very well be our last NXT live reactions. We'll let you guys know our decision like after Halloween Havoc has ended, but we will be live reacting to it Tuesday the 19th. But yeah, to finish out the week, just Stardom tomorrow at 8, and then Sunday we got nothing. So join us for Stardom tomorrow because it's the best, and it makes me happy, and it makes me love wrestling, and just feel like a kid again in the best way. And it's the start of the tag league, and that's cool. That's fun. Yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's go Momoaz, 2Pete. Let's fucking go. So yeah, tomorrow date, be there. It's fucking awesome. And if not, we'll see you Tuesday for Halloween Havoc. For those of you that just want to stick to the WWE product and NXT, that's fine too. We're recovering Halloween Havoc at 8. Yeah, because NXT starts at 8. We also have here Stardom live reaction for October 16th, but that's the show we're currently waiting on, isn't it? Actually, no, I've been looking at the wrong thing this whole time. I'm a fucking idiot. Hold on, guys. Let me run that back. So, yes, tomorrow at 8, Stardom. But then Halloween Havoc is the 26th, not the 19th. I was looking at the wrong date the whole time. I apologize. But yes, that's still at 8. We'll be live reacting to it. Like I said, go Braun Breaker. Let's hope that it all goes well. So, guys, with that said, until we see you again, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Until we meet again.
Just before you close out, I just wanted to address really quick, because you did address the wrong week. We do have Q&A this coming Thursday.
That is true. Yes, that is true. We do have Q&A. Yeah, next Thursday.
Yeah, this coming week we have no Stardom shows because they don't have any other shows until the 30th and the 31st. So we just have tomorrow, 8 p.m., and then no Stardom until after the following weekend. But this coming week we do have our NXT live reactions because it's Halloween Havoc, which might be our last. We might switch back to reviews afterwards. Then we have our Q&A on Thursday, and then, of course, Smackdown Review Friday.
Yes. All right, guys. You heard it here from him very coherently and correctly. So we'll see you guys then. And like I said, until we meet again, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Tune in. Peace out.